I just strongly believe that we've all been given some kind of unique chord that when we can get enough out of our way to just play that chord, that it creates a symphony with all the other people who are playing their chords. And somehow culture has convinced us that we need to make money instead, or we need to play a different chord because that's what people want, or we've been messed up so much in our childhoods or with capitalism or whatever that we can't even see straight anymore. But at least for me, and I imagine for you, there is this sort of calling inside. There's a knowing that sometimes wakes up and pokes its head through and says, hey, remember me? I'm your gift. Share me, please. And there are these little whispers. How do you respond to those whispers? What is the shortest path between this gift you want to share and sharing it? And it doesn't have to be the final product. I have like fancy podcasting equipment, but I haven't figured out how to set it up yet. So, this is just on my iPhone, right? Especially now with the iPhones in our pockets. It's like creativity is literally a button away and it's in your pocket. Like it's remarkable. And so finding that path between some gift you want to give and giving it. And almost invariably, discussion, we can find the shortest path to actually just doing something to offer a gift in some way, shape, or form. For me, it was listening to Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, when I was 13. In my dad's car, he had a tape. He said, the tape's called You'll See It When You Believe It by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I put it on, and it was lectures. It was him talking in front of groups, stories, and talking about life and spirituality. I remember being really taken by it. I remember this sense of feeling like a shift in perspective is like the most valuable thing in the world. And I loved his extemporaneous style of speaking. And I remember thinking to myself at 13, I could do that. That's a job. That's a job. You could have that as a job. And then I proceeded to spend the next 30 years dancing with that dream, and dancing with that truth inside of me, that was something like that was something I wanted to do. And I found lots of interesting little expressions of that in the world, mostly in conversation with other people, and sometimes in leading groups and doing different things. But right now, right here, doing this is the most true expression of that dream and that desire that's ever been put out there. And maybe it's taken all this long to gain the confidence to do this. But also I think that I've allowed myself to be distracted. I've allowed myself to believe that I am not good enough yet. And that's the thing with trying, is that there's a gap between your skill and your taste. Let me say that again. There's a gap between your skill and your taste. Most people that have something they love, like let's say they're a dancer or a singer or a musician of some sort, and you're at the beginning, right? You look out and you probably love the thought of doing that because you have idols that you really appreciate. And when you listen or you watch those idols, or you see the painting of an artist that really inspires you, that's your taste. But what's hard to realize is that how many hours that person must have spent to develop the skill to be able to resonate with you so deeply. And so then you go and try and do it, and your skill isn't even close. So it's like, why bother? And so just being comfortable with the lack of skill right away. And here I am kind of practicing what I preach in it. And one of the things I'm really committed with this medium is to be vulnerable, to be accurate to what my own experience is. And I think so much with teachers, there's a sense that the teacher knows because the teacher's overcome the thing and therefore they can teach. And I think that's probably true in certain instances, but I'm really committed to making sure that if I'm still struggling with something or if I'm still getting something, I don't want to hide that from the audience, from you. And having known lots of really top teachers and top coaches and whatnot really up close and personal, one of the things I've discovered is that they're all struggling with all the same things they're talking about in teaching. They're not always aware of that, but we are all so human, and so much of our struggles are so universal. They're so universal, and they ricochet off of everything. So every time you're struggling with something or trying to figure out something, puzzling through something, it reverberates. You can start seeing it in all different places in your life, in the movies you watch, and there's a certain way that this kind of stuff shows up. And one of the kind of mantras I've been using ever since I did a ayahuasca journey a few months ago. And one of the songs that was being played during it is a song that says, I am forever remembering that everything is here to teach me how to love, how to love. And it was very powerful for me on the journey, and I've written it on my mirror since. And I think it's a really powerful tool, which is that everything is grist for the mill. Everything that shows up, every challenge we face, it's all there to teach us how to love. And when I see that, I'm reminded that everything's a gift. And you might say, oh, well, that sounds, what do you mean everything's a gift? It sounds a bit hokey. And I would agree. It totally does. Totally cliche. But since you can't go backwards, since you can't redo anything, what is the highest use of experience? I can't think of a better answer than as a teacher for how to love. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow.